Hello. What a fun intro. I don't have a radio board. That's with the other guy. Right now, we are here. We are live for a special solo edition of Anytime with Ken and Alden. If for some reason you can't hear me or anything is wrong, say so in the comments. But remember, we're not saving lives here. You don't have to freak out. It doesn't have to be all caps. Hello, Jared. Hello, Matthew. Hello, 8984M. Hello, Charlie. Hello, Andy. A lot of the regular friends are here. Hello, Eli from the In the Galaxy Star Wars podcast, commissioner of our trivia league. I am one of your hosts, Alden Diaz, here once again. Hello. I should probably throw up a something there. There you go. Now it's a show. Just sifting through all of Ken's controls. The great Ken Napzok is not here. I said on Twitter that he is on an important side quest. I think in the adult world they call that an appointment. And so he is out there fixing his beautiful, incredible self in some way. He's fine. Don't worry. But I have the keys. We are here. Hello, 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 Dylan Barry. Matthew, thank you for the update. Hello, Will McLean. Yes, indeed. Happy Friday. Jack Hall's here. Thank you, friends, for stopping by. This is going to be extremely casual, in case you could not notice. We are sort of just flying solo, going to be talking to you pretty directly, talking about different things going on in the world and pop culture, different things like that. There is no set plan, no segments, anything like that. We'll have some guests popping in throughout, different things, different people, friends of the show, people that have been on before, people that haven't been on before, as time permits. It's not going to be, some crazy plan. We're not throwing a party, but I'm happy to be here with you on a Friday. It's been an interesting week or so in the world. America, not great. That's my esteemed report. That's my professional diagnosis for everything that's going on. Not great, Chief. It's not looking good. We had the Supreme Court, with some shenanigans. I was about to swear, but you don't want to swear in the first few minutes because the Google algorithm. Supreme Court, this gun decision, the bump stocks. I don't know what the hell is going on. I mean, I do know what the hell is going on. People are bought and paid for, but it doesn't make it any easier to accept. And then, you move into pop culture, and it's also just chaos, Oh my God, the lesbian witches. The lesbian witches. What are we going to do? I mean, I'm going to love them. That was my plan, was to love them and potentially side with them, depending on what happens. Yes, as Andy says here, like the stream. I'm really bad at reminding people to like streams and to go down into the comments or retweets and everything. At anytimeonair is all the socials. It's exactly the way it sounds. At anytimeonair, one word. That's Twitter, Instagram. Follow, go retweet the show. Let people know that we're on. Let people know that things are happening. And again, apologies to all the Kennanites out there, but he is taking a day. I will say, though, that if you are in the area of Burbank, California, that magical place where they make the movies, Ken Napzok's Hot Burbank Nights, Sunday, June 30th, 7 p.m., Flappers Comedy Club in the Yoo-Hoo Room, featuring Mark Ellis, Jen Sturger, Joe Starr, some names that the nerd community definitely familiar with, the sports communities, the comedy fans, all uniting for Ken's new series of shows. I believe this is going to be perhaps the beginning of something more. Hot Burbank Nights. Go over to flapperscomedy.com to check out ticket information and all that great stuff. I probably won't be there, but it's not because I don't want to be. It's because, do you know how expensive it is to fly to California? You know how expensive it is to fly? Do you know how expensive it is? That's it. Do you know how expensive it is to exist? That's all I got for you. I'm saving up for Japan. It's not looking great. The Knights of Ken. That's true. I do mean the Knights of Ken. Lesbian witches. Hey, who's been in my Troy? I see you. I see you, Troy. I can't say you're wrong. I can't say you're wrong. SCOTUS doing SCOTUS things again. Yay. Yeah. Not great. But we are a few minutes in here. Throw in your questions, throw in your comments, even throw in your concerns. I said that on Twitter. You are allowed to give criticism. You're allowed to air your grievances. You're allowed to boo. It doesn't mean I'm going to pay attention to it, but you're allowed to. I mean, I had people on Twitter this past week telling me to unalive myself. I think that word is fine to say algorithmically. It just makes me feel gross. You know, they want to disparage your character. They want to use slurs against you and all this stuff. And it's like, I don't think people realize that as a kid that didn't have a dad and has a huge chip on his shoulder, that type of stuff is the exact way to get me to keep talking, which is maybe not great. But yeah, your Booze Me Nothing, I've Seen What You Cheer, a classic. I actually have not really watched much of that show, but I do love using that GIF. And yes, while I'm here by myself and there's no one here to argue with me, it is pronounced GIF. That might not be popular, but it is. That is literally what the creators of the file format said that it is called. Because much like moms choosing peanut butter, choosy developers choose GIF. Don't forget about the transgender witches too. Of course. This was but what is the name of her YouTube channel? Is it Philosophy Tube? I haven't personally watched those videos yet. But yeah, also appearing in House of the Dragon. Abigail Thorne, I believe her name is, which is going to be really awesome to see her as a Triarchy pirate. So that's going to be exciting. We'll talk about House of the Dragon as well. Casually talk updates at the end because that is this weekend. Yeah. Liv's here. This week's so fun for arguing with stupid people. Lamau, it's true. Ex Doctor Who podcast host. I didn't know that. And you know, it's interesting that Charlie Ashby should show up in the comments because since the creation of Anytime, the initial discussions about what we wanted to do, there were different ideas about like, oh, could we do a segment like this? Could we do a segment like this? And we've done some of them, and some of them, you know, we've decided in the last couple of weeks to be a little bit more flexible on them because we've been told multiple times by people in the industry or by people listening, like, oh, you know, it's not classic radio, it's not terrestrial radio anymore. You don't need to do that. You need to come into the future. You know, I need to get some bisexual lighting up in here, have more of a this camera angle. I think that's what the kids do now. Put like a picture in picture of whatever I'm playing and streaming. That might be the way to go. But in those initial conversations before we decided to modernize, and we were like, we could have segments and games and all this stuff because we are trained radio guys. One thing that I pitched was a British breakdown. And I don't mean we bring a British person on, they play a song, and then the song has a breakdown and we dance. I mean, what if we had a British person come in and break down their perspective and what was going on over there? Friends of the show, like Maddie Gunner, people that we know overseas and in all countries. But, you know, selfishly, I am sort of lazy and I haven't kept up with my Duolingo. So an English person is generally easier to choose, or a British person in general. And so what I have decided to do is to go to one of my oldest friends. And as I am known to do, very long intro for the man, the myth, the legend, co-creator and host of the Imperial Senate podcast, the host of a little show called Batman Returned, which I have appeared on in literally every episode, the host and creator of several different podcasts. I'm trying to list them all in my mind as if I wasn't there for some of them. Ponder Vision was another show that this gentleman did. A writer, a journalist, and I mean an actual journalist, not a journalist in the sense that he just like tweets and uses the word cameo and calls himself one, but like an actual trained with a degree journalist, one of my favorite people in the world. He was once Charlie Oye. He is now CMW Ashby. He's here.
Oh, hello there.
Hello. Hello, my
friend. I'm glad that you've gone diverse now and you've brought in a straight white British person because it's our time to shine, you know?
It's true. I figure where to go to represent underrepresented communities than a village an hour outside of London. That's as far as I could go. I will be in London, for the record. I'm never going anywhere that's not there because I'm posh. I have nothing else at my heart.
Harump, how dare you?
But welcome. You and I talk almost every day of our lives for the last 4 or 5 years, but haven't been on air together because during the pandemic era, when we were both home all the time, you had an ungodly sleep schedule. But over the past couple of years, you were working in an office setting, and it was harder to pin you down just with the time difference. So now it's evening for you, obviously, midday, lunchtime for me. So we will start with one of the most hard-hitting questions to just
Mm.
take your temperature. How are you?
Interesting question. Like metaphysically or literally? Um,
Open-ended.
Today I'm good. You know, God knows how I'm going to be by the end of July, depending on what's going on. For people that
Yeah.
don't know, there's an election going on soon, which was a
Yes.
surprise to, I think, everyone, including the Tory party.
Including the people involved. Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
yeah, just such fun. So the last few weeks have been interesting. It's been a mixture of, you know, clenching, just making sure we exist because everything's terrible. To clarify, in the UK for the last few years, it's been difficult to get a GP. It's been difficult to
Mhm.
get dentist appointments.
Mhm.
Buses don't run properly, trains don't run properly. Nothing works. Everything's falling apart. And so naturally, we decided to put an American Independence Day election, July 4th.
Nice. And that
Also,
is that a
I'm going to
lasting
a gig that day. So
really?
yeah, I'm seeing the Killers again. So I'm going to
Ooh, very nice.
celebrate, the American independence by hopefully voting out some wrong
Hell
uns.
yeah. Hell, is that a lasting American cultural victory? That turbulence and stupidity, like we just sort of focus in on it, like it revolves around us like a universal constant.
You
While
know,
we're
I
celebrating, another country is fighting for their future.
it's an ongoing, it's something that we happen to just give you guys. We thought
Sure.
we'll just happen to send the slightly more religious folk
Nice.
outwardly to this random place that we've never really been to before, and nothing bad will happen.
Yeah, certainly not. Excited about the Killers though. I've also had the chance to see them live before. They're one of those bands where I think the sound on the record is so specific and the
Mm,
instrumentation is really so I think in the back of my mind I had a little bit of anxiety of like, oof, can the live sound be as good? Yeah, it is. It
yeah.
absolutely is. It's like
Well,
the
they're
second they started, I was like, oh hell yeah.
well, they're my favorite band, and I've seen them God knows how many times now over the years.
Yeah.
To the point where I'm that annoying guy who knows not only the when to sing, but like
Yes.
the different live arrangement versions of stuff,
Mm-hmm.
and I get to
Mm-hmm.
judge and tut other people that like keep singing when you get that they're gonna break
Yeah.
here actually. So
Mhm.
you know,
This is a different arrangement. Here's a question, and I struggle with this, and there was that tweet going around that's like, "What's your most boomer take?" This might be
mm,
one of my most boomer takes, of which I have many. Um, I am not a fan of when artists do this, and let me grab a prop. I'll use this portable battery to
okay.
demonstrate. Pretend this is a microphone. I hate it
I'm
when
glad it's
artists
a
do
portable
this.
battery.
Yes, yeah. No, I keep that stuff over there. When
Okay.
when artists do this, now you sing it.
Oh yeah,
I I really it's fine to sing along or to have a break where they yell back or to it could be well placed. But when it's like I clearly need a sip of water or a breather and I'm gonna let you fill in, it's like I don't want to hear them. I don't want to
it's
hear them. They're
only
off. They're
it,
off. They suck.
it's only good if it's an extended version, and then they proceed to sing the bit they were supposed to sing.
Sure.
Like if
Exactly.
for the Killers, they do all these things that I've done, and they'll
My
let the
favorite of
audience
theirs,
sing.
yeah.
I've got soul,
Yes.
but then I have that little section there for people to sing along, and then they go
Nice.
back to where they were going to go. So that I'll accept that. That's
Yeah,
the
I love this.
exception.
We call that the Jared Leto does it every 30 seconds. 30 I see what you did there. I see what you did there, Matty
Oh, very
Gunner.
good, very good.
Yeah.
I'm
So
I'm
it's exciting.
also of the opinion that they should let short people go to the front of queues. 'Cause as a short
Yeah.
king, it's not fair. Quite
That's
frankly.
rough too, is that you end up with sometimes some gargantuan guys like just living life. It's not their fault. It's like, could
It
you imagine
is.
like could you imagine like being at like a small you know club show or maybe I don't know pub show. I don't know what if the terminology is different, but like in 70s England, and then like Peter Mayhew like walks in front of you like while you're trying
I'll
to
be
enjoy a
livid.
song. It's like it's over. The show's over. There's
Yeah.
nothing that you can do at that point. Yeah, that's very funny. So that's exciting. But in terms of the election, and I'll be bringing in other guests as we go and everything, and you of course stick around as long as you can, as long as you want to. I'll
Yeah.
get Matty Gunner's perspective on this at some point. because he also, living over there and having to suffer through it. What is the general vibe, and how close is it to 2016 America or 2020 America, when it really felt like this is not just bullshit, but it is like cataclysmically like soul of the nation bullshit?
It's an interesting one actually, because I feel like it's a mixture. Like there's disappointment, especially if you're very left wing,
Mm-hmm.
and it's one of those things where you know you have to kind of some people might want to have to swallow the bullet if they want to get rid of the Tories.
Right.
But there's also a sense of relief, I think, for a lot of people,
Mm.
because at the state we're in right now, it very much seems that the Tories are done. Like
Yeah.
there's nothing much more they can do to ruin it. And I say
Mhm.
that having been continually surprised over the last week about how incredible the lack of effort being put into this election. So last week, our Prime Minister left the D-Day celebrations to go to a pre-recorded interview for the election,
Mm.
which is just baffling when
Yeah.
considering that one of the people that stayed at the D-Day event was Zelensky, who
Right.
hasn't got much going on himself.
Certainly not one of the chillest guys in the world
Yeah.
currently. Yeah, that's just, I mean, that man, your beloved PM, is truly one of the most consistent living memes of all time. And like, look, it's not to throw stones. I mean, look what's happening over here. Look where we're headed for our election in the fall.
Yeah.
And as much as the previous one, but and also this is not a shock to any of you either. Having gone through the Boris era and many other eras. So it's like it generally seems like you do not need to be a serious person to rise in these ranks.
Well, it's funny you
Not great.
say that, because one of the most sort of generally, I'd say, like, they're a party that you respect because they are properly left wing, but also
Mhm,
they get a lot of stick because they're ridiculous. Um, the Green Party,
mhm.
and the Green Party usually they hit like fourth, maybe third, depending on if the Lib Dems are doing poorly. Can I read a headline out for you from this week, if
Please,
that's possible?
please
So
do.
this is a headline we got from this election run. Okay,
Okay.
this is generally the normal people.
Mhm.
Deputy Green Party leader admits to performing hypnotherapy to enlarge women's breasts in the past.
Okay.
So that's where we are. That's where we are in the sort of election run where the deputy leader of one of the minor political institutions I just used
Well,
hypnotherapy to try and
and
make boobies bigger.
that is the day today. Thank you, Charlie. We're moving
You
on.
can't
Like
make it up.
that actually just like, yeah, that sounds like and I guess there's the connection of creative people here for the joke I'm about to make to the day today. Like that's a lower third from Roystar Waco like news
Yes.
like that comes over.
Yes.
Like that's just like ATN level. It's so bad. It's bad. Not to do a
It's
hard pivot, but
yeah.
just because I don't want to lose some of these in terms of good stuff for you, in terms of, or
Oh,
potentially
of
good
course.
stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
In terms of things, we have a question here. Sean Room is in the chat, and
Oh, we
update on
love
Sean
Sean.
Room. He's getting his oil change, so big things
Oh,
happening right now in Sean's life. I love and miss you too, Sean. We both do.
we miss you.
Sean asks a question
Okay.
to you specifically. He
Mm.
addressed you as Charles. How are we feeling about your countrymen's chances in the Euros?
Uh, you know what?
Not great, Chief. That's how it feels, right? Just from that.
I mean, if you saw the game the other day, it's just I don't. Do you know what I'm gonna do? I'm not gonna expect anything. I'm gonna be pleasantly surprised.
That's how
Uh,
that's me on the job market right now.
that's me. Yeah, on Tinder. Um, I think the manager is going to be gone if we don't lose. I don't
Yeah,
expect us to win. I think France are probably the ones to win. I mean, look at the team; it's ridiculous.
yeah.
Although there are no Tottenham players in the England squad this year, so it's a boost, isn't it?
It's just, I don't get it. I don't get it, man. I don't get the
They get the
stress
Euros.
level, I don't. No, I get what the Euros are. I just mean like I don't get the how you have the mental bandwidth to deal with. How do I word this? And it's you, it's Nikki, it's Sean, it's all of our friends that are passionate about sports and of any kind, because the sports aren't really a part of my life.
Yeah.
I'm already feel like I'm at 100% max bandwidth mentally of everything I can think about and deal with and be stressed about. And somehow you all have this other gear where it's like, because
Mm.
I know you're dealing with all the same shit I am. So it's not like you have
Yeah.
easier lives and you substitute in sports. It's like you guys have 110% bandwidth, and that extra 10 is to be constantly heartbroken about sports.
Yeah.
And sometimes you guys are on hot streaks and like it's great. But God, it looks so soul crushing to be a diehard fan.
Yeah. I'll put it this way. I think I've worked it out that I'm going to die earlier. Just the nature of my blood pressure.
All right.
It can only put up with so much. So that's kind of what you have to deal with. Yeah. The mixture of just raging, just rage from having to put up with Twitter and all the
Sure.
social media side of things, and
Sure.
then having everything else. It's just yeah. It's a tough one, but the highs are high, the lows are low, but the highs are high. And this
Yeah.
year was more of a high than ever before, and I'm sure Sean will have some highs soon.
I love this because it's like you've got like
Ten Hag in.
I love that we've got like, everyone's coming in now,
Oh,
with,
Danny Dyer is here.
yeah. So it's like I get this one. I get this one.
I get the
But
reference.
I like that Jerry threw in Tinder, Bumble, Hinge, because if I didn't know what those were, I would believe they were clubs. Like, like, oh, who's
Or
yours?
Transformers.
I'm for Hinge or Transformers. Yeah, lower level Autobots, Tinder, Bumble, and Hinge. Bumble, Tinder. Yeah, that's great.
Bumble is, yeah, I guess, yeah.
I'm going to, but yeah, I guess Bumble is one. I wonder if Bumblebee is aware of Bumble the app. Do you think they
He'd
need
be a
that?
great ambassador for that.
Do Transformers have romance? That's a serious question. Like, can Transformers fans sound off in the comments? Is there like two Transformers that love each other? I don't know
I'm
if
sure
that's a
there
thing.
is, but how do they mate? Is that what you're asking as well?
Yeah, I mean, I guess. Interesting. Quick another question for you, and then we
Mm-hmm.
might have a caller come in and join us. You take salt in your tea.
How dare you? How dare
How
you?
how dare I ask the question, or how dare I do an
Yeah,
accent when
just
I asked it?
both. No, I don't. No, I do not have salt in my tea.
I love how passionate British celebrities get when the subject comes up. Like
Tea.
like they'll be
Yeah.
on a press tour about like movies or whatever, and then they'll be giving a pretty basic media trained answer, and then sometimes somebody will throw out some stupidity like, "Can you microwave tea?" And you see like they just
Oh yeah,
immediately
because that is
lock
that
in.
drives me nuts. It's like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
You've got kettles in America. I've seen them.
See, like
I've seen them.
Even Molly
Yeah,
Damon, the great Molly Damon, is confused by this. And
you can't
Molly's a
do that.
worldly person who knows about like recipes and health and like, or at least it appears to me that way. Molly could be like low key, the wildest person in the world, drinking, straight up raw eggs every day and being gross, and I would never know. But it seems like something she would know about if it was happening. Molly, you're informed, right? Salty. Sean,
Oh,
Sean,
very good.
don't inhale the fumes while you're at the auto shop.
Just breathing in all the oil.
Salt and tea is my Roman Empire. You need to raise your standards, Gerald.
Yeah.
Boston Tea Party joke here. Hayden boils water for tea by microwaving it. Okay, so this
No.
is Liv. Liv is Canadian, so there's another perspective there. Hayden,
Mhm.
however, is not. Hayden is American, and specifically Hayden that we are referring to at MCYTD, creator of the Yord Horde on Twitter and co-host of
I'm
Fist Bump
aware.
Relay. Yeah, well, just doing my due diligence as a broadcaster. Hayden is from the same, not just from Florida, the same part of Florida that I'm from, and not just like the general area. Like we found out we used to go to the same movie theater, like
Oh
the
wow.
same exact area. And I can say people here are fucking crazy. So that does track. Microwave water.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That'd be a
Hashtag
good
Yord
gift
Horde.
though. Get a kettle. Get a
Get a
kettle as a
kettle for
gift.
people. I have a. I mean, I'm drinking a cup of coffee right now, as I always do in my favorite mug, my pig mug. The
Oh,
pig's
beautiful.
and the pig's name is Mycroft, and
Very
I
good.
thank you. I boil this like a normal person in one of those digital kettles, and I live a decent life doing that. You know,
It gives you a little bit of a routine to it as well.
see, Molly. Oh, Molly said cuppa. She's
Oh,
she's playing
she's
to the
using the
audience.
she's using the colloquialisms. Got to do
That's
that.
great. Hashtag Jackie Jam. Salt in my coffee all day. I love that this reads like salt in your coffee, queen. Salt in your coffee tonight, queen.
It
We
does seem like a
have
quote of something like sorting
we
your
have
coffee.
a caller, Chuck. Are you
Oh,
ready?
yeah.
They are one of my very favorite people. They I can't quote this because it includes a word that I shall not say. But they could commit acts that would make stars fall and gods quake. From Ending
Mm.
Pending and Genders, Queers, and Buccaneers. It is Andy. Andy,
Hello.
hello. Andy,
Hello.
How we doing?
I saw you say something inflammatory in the comments, Andy. Do you know what I'm referring to?
Did I? I don't remember that.
You
That must have been
said,
someone else.
quote, "It's not my fault God made me 6'2", wear heels." Charlie, Short King, how do you respond?
I mean, in a sense, it is. In a sense, it's God's fault. You don't have to have. You could kneel.
I could kneel. I think as a person from an hour outside London, maybe it's time for you to play around with gender a little bit. Try some heels. Get a little taller for the concert.
You would look good,
Right,
Chuck.
that's true. See,
You would look really good.
issue.
Happy Pride.
Absolutely no. I'm full. I'm actually. I think the issue with me there is I might go too far. I feel like I'm going to end up like Inspector Gadget and just keep
Oh yeah, there you go.
building on the length. Keep building on the length until I'm too tall.
One of those Ren Fair people who like dresses like a fawn and has those like crazy long, like mechanical legs. Those things are dope.
Exactly. Yeah.
I'm so impressed by them. I really am.
Yeah, they're pretty cool.
So Andy,
it'd be great.
That's me.
I am going to address your questions with you here.
Oh, snap. Okay.
You asked best live show. Why don't you tell us about this and why it's your favorite live show for Jack's Mannequin, and then we can jump in with ours.
I saw Jack's Mannequin at the Electric Factory in Philadelphia in 2009, I want to say. And my freshman year of college, 2010, a guy in my dorm, we found out was at the same show I was. And you could see me in his pictures of the show, which was really wild. Like small world, small universe. But that show was just dope. Andrew McMahon always kills it. He always does an incredible show. So I've seen him live maybe 4 or 5 times, and each performance has always been dope.
Love that. Real quick before we jump in with Charlie's favorite live show ever, we have people specifically requesting that you show your nails. Let's see them nails. Hell yeah, Andy, let's see them nails. See, that's what we should do. And I before the strikes happened, when I was planning, the Ahsoka premiere, am I going to go to the premiere? I wanted to do Sabine nails of some kind. So maybe season 2, I'll get Andy to do my nails like Sabine. Get like one that's checker, one that's purple, one that
I can take you to see my nail tech, but I don't do these myself.
Andy's like, to be clear, I am paying for this.
Shout out to Helen at Rose Nails, my girl. She always takes good care of me.
Shout out Helen. I'll clip this out so you can show Helen that you are advertising for free, like an influencer. Best shows from Jared. We got Bad Religion. A Bad Religion would be a really good show. No facts. Less than Jake, Rob Zombie.
I would love to see Less Than Jake.
That'd be really cool. I mean, Charlie, do you have an answer that jumps out to you immediately? I'm trying to decide. Is it the Killers?
Killers are great always, but I will say that because I'm biased. I've been to a lot of great shows actually, to be honest. U2 are always fun to go to. Even if you don't like them, I always recommend going to visit them live because it's such a performance. Bono's a showman. MGMT were fun live.
Yeah.
That was a fun show.
Yeah. I like
Hot Chip are great. Gotta go for that. Just terrific.
It's interesting because it's like the answer that comes to me immediately is a unique case because, as of course we all know, it is not and cannot be the original lineup, but seeing Queen with Adam Lambert in 2019 was like sound quality of another galaxy. Like it was nuts. And I was fortunate to have really great seats. We were on the floor because I was working for the rock station at the time. And so, getting to like see a Brian May guitar solo happen 20 feet from where you are, just elevated up. Insane. Absolutely insane. That was good. Sometimes, and lots of bands have been great for that. Kiss is great. The Scorpions are great. Def Leppard's great. Newer bands like the Struts, amazing. The Struts played a Cajun food festival in Florida. So it's already not even where Cajun food festival should be. So it's already removed. It was, the name of the festival was Craw Debauchery. And this was, I know. And this was after the Struts' first EP. They only had the EP and the album was coming. And I knew who they were because they got used in a wrestling promo. And so I was like, oh, this band's cool. I feel like this band will take off. And they played Craw Debauchery like it was Madison Square fucking Garden.
Hell yeah.
Like they delivered as if they were already the biggest band in the world. And that's when I knew that they were going to be great, and they continue to be great. And
I'm just going to add,
yeah,
because it is Pride Month, I'm going to mention Broadway. Not the best show I've ever seen live, but the most unforgettable was Spider-Man Turn Off the Dark.
You saw Spider-Man Turn Off the Dark?
Not only did I see Spider-Man Turn Off the Dark, I was seated next to John Bon Jovi.
Oh, I remember this. I think you tweeted about this. That just jogged my memory. Oh my!
I did tweet about that.
You got to sit next to Millie Bobby Brown's father-in-law?
Yes, I did not know that, but yes.
That's crazy. Yeah, she married his kid. Wow, that that show like exists in like lore so deeply and in like tragic lore that I forget that there are individuals that witnessed it.
Incredible.
Oh, that's amazing. Gaga and Muse, great answers.
I would love to see Lady Gaga.
I would love her too. I can next time Ken's is back, which he will be. I will ask him to talk about his religious experience at the Chromatica ball because he describes that in such a beautiful way. I would love to see that. In terms of like, pop icons and pop girlies and everything, people would be shocked to hear that I've never been to a Dua Lipa concert. So like, hopefully that happens on this tour. Well, she's doing Royal Albert Hall, and don't think I didn't think about it, Charlie. Don't think I didn't think about it. I'm still thinking about it.
I'll go with you.
Although keep Japan in mind.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I did see Ariana Grande because my ex was a big Ariana fan, and I was like, yeah, let's go. Like I'm never a no to a concert, even if it's not for me or if I don't know anything. And I didn't know anything about her except like a couple of the radio hits, and and I watched Nickelodeon like everyone else did, so I knew who she was. And I went to this, and she has that song, I believe it's Dangerous Woman, and she is belting it. And that's when I realized she has more talent and more ability and more power than I think most of her radio play lets show. And so I'm excited for Wicked and all that. Yeah. But like, I just want her to like do a record that is so not, I want her to pivot the way that Gaga has, or the way that Miley did with, Plastic Hearts and going into rock and stuff like. So she's really cool. Looking at other answers here. Fall Out Boy.
I will say as well,
Monkeys, Taylor.
One of my favorite new artists is called Confidence Man, and they're a group from Australia. If you haven't listened to them, I recommend going out and doing it. They're all members from different actual bands in Australia that have come together. Two of them we don't know who they are because they covered themselves with masks. Okay. The other two have these like pseudonyms like Janet Planet, which is incredible. And they're just bringing out 90s noughties dance sort of remixes and stuff. Like that's the sort of music they're making again. But they're very tongue-in-cheek, very funny. I saw them live, got to be at the front of the stage. They're incredible. So I recommend checking them out because that was a blast.
This wasn't live per se, but I had let's make this PG. I had eaten a sandwich.
Nice.
And then as the walls were kind of melting and the ceiling was melting, and we put on the Phantom Menace, and that was a mistake after having eaten a sandwich. And like time had stopped. We got to Watto and we're like, we're done. We got to turn this off. This is too scary.
I can't look at him.
So we went to Bob's Burgers, which was a little better, but still a struggle. And I told my the person I was with, I was like, look, I'm gonna go upstairs. I can't handle a narrative. And I put on the Eras tour. Nice. And watching that after having eaten a sandwich was a truly religious experience. I was like, I understand the cosmos. I understand time. I am on that stage with her right now. And all of a sudden, like, religion made sense again. I was like, this is the spirit is within me. The spirit is very gay and is Taylor Swift, but the spirit is within me.
But a spirit nonetheless.
A spirit, yeah.
Molly's spirit was Battle for Endor, which like generally is already a trope in and of itself. And so
if you ate the same sandwich I did, girl.
Common Eras tour experience. Yeah. I still haven't watched the Eras tour.
Oh, it's great.
I'm glad it's streaming. It was Liv that put together a starter Taylor playlist for me that was in chronological order, and I did a field report back to her about what I liked and what stood out to me and all that. And now there's a revised playlist that is more keyed toward me that I'm going to listen to that I haven't listened to yet.
When she did the chair dance to Vigilante shit, I was just like, I think I understand straight people now. Like,
which is a level even deeper than God.
Yeah.
It's even more complicated. Andy, before I send out to this next caller and we start to rotate everybody, there's another topic that you gave us. It's completely different. And that topic is, what's the biggest Star Wars creature monster you think you could beat up? And what is the smallest that you could beat up? Well,
so the biggest one you could take in a fight, and what's the smallest one that would take you in a fight?
Oh, take me. Oh, beat me up. That's so true.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I mean, every Ewok would kick my ass. I think that's in general just true. And honestly, Kawaki and monkey lizards might kick my ass. In fact, probably.
No, they're too smug.
So you think that's like over projecting?
No, the Quacky Monkey Lizard will be watching you getting beaten up by the Ewok and laughing at you.
Yeah.
He wouldn't get involved. Fair. He won the sidelines.
What's the biggest one you could take then, Alden?
I feel like I could. I mean, I'm not athletic. I'm not that strong. I don't think I would do very well against many things, but I could probably fight a puffer pig and not hurt it because I would want to adopt it. But like puffer pig would probably blow up to like full spherical, and then
Florida man fights puffer pig.
Yeah, that just tracks.
Yeah, that's 30-50 feral puffer pigs.
Laser bolt says
that's what you need. Your
both.
automatic blaster is in case 30-50 feral puffer pigs come on your moisture farm.
Well, Star Wars Outlaws. We just heard we'll be able to co-own a moisture farm in that game and have a nice credit economy,
which is my dream Star Wars goal since a kid. I watched Star Wars. I was living that Luke left the moisture farm.
You were like, well, Uncle Owen is the protagonist of this movie. Clearly,
you turn it off. You're like, these woke Jedi taking farm boys away from their home. Yeah, this movie sucks now.
I just turn it off. Yeah, I'm like, he'll be back.
Pretty sure I could take it. Is Matthew Stokes Admiral Rampart? We might be learning a lot.
You could also infer that at the ending of episode 9, Rey becomes a moisture farmer. Until the new film comes out.
According to a lot of people, she stays there forever and never leaves.
Yeah, of course she does. It's implied in the film.
Yeah, she kidnapped BB-8 and is kept.
If she were to do anything else, Alden, they would have shown it.
It's true. I bet Maz Kanata would kick Molly. Molly, you're pretty yoked right now. You're pretty yoked.
Yeah,
I want
no,
to see
but
women
also-
supporting women, though. You know, I don't want to see
Oh, that's
Moscow
true.
to beat Molly up. Yeah.
Yeah.
When you say take on, are we assuming that I can defeat it? Because I feel like I could take stuff on.
Win.
Oh,
Win.
okay.
Actually win.
Yeah, win. What's one you could take and win? The biggest.
Okay. Hmm.
Charlie's gonna
Trying
be
to think
like,
of all these-
what is the thing in Fallen Order? The big ass dragon bat shit, the Gagora or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, I could fight God.
I'm like Dak in
yeah.
Family
Be
Guy.
like the
Oh, I'm by myself.
I think my answer is the father and the son and the daughter. Like I could probably throw it out.
If Brian from Pink Milk here was here, he would be saying that he could take the Gamorreans from Book of Boba Fett, and we would all be like in a fight, right?
Yeah. I see you, Brian. Don't try to.
Oh
Andy,
Legit though.
Andy, last question for
okay.
you
Hit me.
before I move into our next caller who just arrived. In general, how are you? Because I didn't ask.
Oh God, that's a loaded question. I'm great. Question mark. Yeah, I'm good. Things are fine.
Because the name of this episode in the actual video is Be Perceived. I put on the thumbnail, let's perceive each other. And so far, I've been perceiving Charlie for, a lot of people don't know this, I've been perceiving Charlie actually for a decade. You know, we were 14 when we met on Twitter. Yeah, if not a little bit longer. Wow. Yeah. And you have been perceiving for a few years, and now I'm perceiving you again face to face, and you seem upbeat. I don't know if that tracks, but not that you're not usually, but beard off, nails on. Is this just is this summer? Are you a summer person?
I did just have a beach trip, which was a lot of fun. But all my shows are back right now and like great. Yeah. Like I'm loving the Acolyte. We got Hot D coming this weekend. Mm-hmm. I'm doing half day Fridays for work right now. My office gives us half day Fridays. So like that's pretty fantastic. So yeah, I'm living life. Got a bunch of sun at the beach. Wore a cute little bikini. It was a good time. Yeah. So yeah, I'm doing great. Life is great.
Good.
Ignoring what's happening out in the world. Blocking people on Twitter. It's great.
Bonus question.
Because
I love married people. Give your most underrated marriage tip right now.
Oh God.
Forget all that communication bullshit. Give me something that no one else talks about.
Most underrated marriage tip. Put your husband's towel on the towel warmer. Just every single time you see it not on there, put it on there. Make out with your friends. That's always a plus.
Hell yeah.
Get them a cool cocktail maker if they like making cocktails. Then you get cocktails all the time.
Smart. That's the long
game.
Things that also benefit you are the best tips.
Yeah. I don't know. We have coffee every Saturday and Sunday morning in bed for like 40 minutes, and we put on like a dumb TV show like Bar Rescue or Pawn Stars, and it's like the highlight of my week all the time. So do that. I don't know. Marriage should be easy. It shouldn't be any different than dating.
Love that. Boom. Marriage shouldn't be any different from dating. Andy, we will have you again on soon, and I will see you in Westeros.
Peace out.
See you then. All right, so that was Andy. I love them. I love them dearly. Now to another caller that I really do love from your neck of the woods, across the pond. I am now going to be outnumbered. This is Matty Gunner.
Gentlemen,
hey.
Good evening.
Matty.
Howdy.
How you doing,
Matty,
mate? You all right?
What are we going to do, man? Just in general.
What are we going to do? We're going to have a good time. I've made it right now. Like, forget everything. Podcasting, band. Like, I'm on with you two boys on Anytime.
This is the bar?
This is it? Dude, I've gone. This is above the bar. Like, the bar was down here. I'm, like, shot over the bar to be talking with you boys.
I mean, yeah. I'm going to start putting that on my job resume. I'm going to be like, British men consider me to be the bar of life and career.
Both of you. I'm big fan of both of you. As people, as podcasters, as people that I love to get drunk with at 3:00 in the morning outside of a hotel room.
Amen.
Oh, yeah, that too.
Amen. Pass me the talking bottle.
Oh
now,
my God.
Now, we touched on this a little bit with Charlie, and you're both people that will obviously be affected by everything that happens in July. How are we feeling, and how close are you to making Molotov cocktails and taking to the streets?
I am of the opinion, and I'm not sure if I can say this. I'm trying to figure out how I can word this in a way that's, as you put it, so succinctly ordered, algorithmically safe for your channel here. I believe the last person with any shred of dignity to walk into the Houses of Parliament was wearing a V for Vendetta mask a few hundred years ago. Yeah, Charlie's much more eloquent with it. With me, for me, it's we're just looking at a race between the Tories and the Tories wearing red ties. So I'm not holding out much hope. The only thing I can hope for is people vote tactically. We get the lesser of the two evils out. And hopefully we can start working away from this party system, the House of Commons, House of Lords, abolish them both, in my opinion, abolish the monarchy, get it all out.
Look, you know what we need? We just need one, we need one group where people talk out their ideas and then decide what's best for everybody and then do that. And now this is the part where one of you says, well, that's what we have. The problem is that no, Attack of the Clones. All right, never mind. We need one guy who, is in charge and does what's best. Someone wise. I wish.
So what you have to do is go on a date with a girl and then pretend to be thrown off by an animal and then pretend to be dead for about a minute because they love that.
The pretend to be dead. The pretend to be dead strategy.
They love it.
Well, then they should be made to. Yes.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's not great. I agree.
Not great.
The whole red Tory thing is true. Absolutely. It's also a case of blue Tories versus red Tories, and then now there's a third party who are literally the Nazis.
That guy.
Which when you have a member of a political party straight up say that we had the wrong idea of going to war with Hitler.
Yeah,
it makes you try and think, maybe.
And what's scarier about that
terrible
too,
people
than
aren't
just
as
saying
bad.
it, is that there are people that are like, I could dig on that. Like
the average person down the pub, apparently. Charlie, you'll be familiar with James O'Brien, right? Have you read his book at all?
Yeah. I haven't read this book, but I have seen, I do listen to his stuff.
Yeah, the leader of the party that we're talking about is a man who went to university at one of the most prestigious universities in the country and proceeded to be part of not pro neo-Nazi clubs and was walking around singing Nazi anthems today. Like, I was watching an interview today of this clip, the account on Twitter, Haggis, posted a clip, and he was talking about climate change. And they were saying that most areas of the world are going to become inhabitable. And this man looked directly in the camera and said, well, when those areas become uninhabitable, the other places will become habitable. And I was like, how do you think the climate works, my dude?
Yeah.
Yes. The old playing Spore on my Mac theory that I could just balance things around my little world. Yeah, I don't get it. By the way, if anyone has questions, while I have these two gents here, throw in your questions. Any topic, anything goes. Does not have to be about the downfall of democracy, although if that's what you're feeling. Now, Maddie, personally, because I've gotten the how are yous and everything with everybody. You can answer that, but also creatively and as a musician in particular, do you feel like, because I remember when Trump got elected in 2016, people pointed out, and in a lot of ways rightfully so, the only thing that's going to thrive during this is art. And and in the same way that American art thrived under Bush because people were mad, do you predict that there's going to be a great wave of world art, but particularly British music and art and painting and all this stuff that happens because people are witnessing in real time the complete incompetence?
That's a really good question. You see at the minute a lot of, especially alternative bands, are kind of leaning into the country side of things because it's a lot popular. You see bands like what they call Bill Murray, who are like a kind of pop punk band, like kind of adding country tinges to them, and it's kind of playing to that like blue collar, working man kind of a thing. And we know what kind of an audience that can attract, right? The people that hear certain lyrics or see a certain piece of art and don't quite understand that it, like, the people that created that art are talking about them. So in terms of coming from Britain, I don't think so, because I'll be honest, I think a lot of musicians from England are too spineless to speak up against.
Although we did get the Barclay card thing today.
Yeah, with Download Festival, I thought that was really good. Shout out to all the bands like Dying Wish, Enter Shikari, and all those bands. Basically, Barclays, the bank, supply money to the Israeli military. They were a big sponsor of the Download Festival, which is the biggest alternative music festival in Europe. And a lot of bands just started pulling out. They were like, "No, we're not going to take it." Enter Shikari, who are probably the biggest band in alternative music in the UK, from my opinion, they are. Other than maybe Bring the Horizon, but all these bands just started pulling out. They were like, "No, we're not going to play the festival unless you do something about it."
What did you say the name of that band was?
Enter Shikari.
Enter Shikari. Didn't Shikari fight for Loki in the Battle of New York?
I think so.
Get out. Get out.
Good night, everyone. No. Yeah, it is like
Jerry
that's the thing,
Seinfeld
is
over here.
Oh Christ! Please, God, give me better than that. I'll take anything else. I'll be
What's the deal with Enter
Costanza,
Shikari?
What's
Didn't
the
they fight with
deal?
Loki?
The Download Festival. It's like I feel like we're stuck in this space where we constantly are, like, we have those moments of inspiration, like seeing like these bands take a stand and these artists, act morally instead of acting monetarily. But it's like, why can't I be? My constant struggle, I guess, of adulthood is why can't I be inspired without being crushed first? Like, it's like we can only. It's like if people had this fire and we weren't being squeezed, would we be here? Is a constant thought. I mean, it's a dangerous thought process because you just end up in a spiral. You're not going to have an answer for that. But for the two of you, what do you think is, giving young kids over there or teens, like who are they following? What are they interested in? Because it felt like for us looking that way, because the reporting on British politics here is probably as weird and as removed as the reporting on American politics over there, where it's like it feels like, well, that's so far away, what are they doing, even though they're both falling apart. There was a period where everyone was like, oh well, Corbyn is the Bernie Sanders of the UK, and that they were analogous to each other, and that kids had a guy to latch onto. But it doesn't feel that way anymore. It doesn't feel like kids know what they want to sign up for, or is that accurate? Like, is there a lot of, like, it doesn't matter why vote sentiment?
Probably. I think it's complicated. I think that some people who are Corbynites have either gone with, like, some people might have gone to the Green Party. Some people probably feel like, oh, well, there's no one we can vote. I think some people will have gone to Labour. They might not agree with everything they do, but I think the idea of having, it's like with Joe Biden, it's like having a more left-leaning person in charge was better for the overall. Like I said earlier, despite, obviously, I don't think Labour are the best party right now to vote for, but compared to what we've got, I mean, just having, like, people being able to see GPs would be a boost. And I think that what we have to do is, have that. We need to make the foundation solid again before we dive back in to push more. And that doesn't mean you can't, keep fighting and stuff. And again, I think what's interesting and different from the US to talk about politics and to talk about everything, like you said, about art, is that we're still entrenched in the class system. I don't think that's going to go away. So there's also a class system around it. So you might see a lot of outspoken lefties who might, quite frankly, be like middle class people who actually their mummies and daddies are very posh. And they can be they're allowed to be outspoken because if they get told off, they're the girl from Common People, they can go back home and it'll be fine.
Exactly. Like if they do get arrested at this thing,
yes,
they know they're going to be sleeping in their bed. Like,
And it's the same with like musicians and stuff, or actors. You see a lot of people. I mean, like House of the Dragon has a new actor in the series. His brother is literally an actor who has gone crazy over here. So Freddie Fox, who's in House of the Dragon, his brother Lawrence Fox, he was like a famous actor over here who was married to Billie Piper, completely gone off the hinge, completely gone crazy. Part of Reform UK, got sued for libel and all this stuff.
What he said about that woman was just like,
it's disgusting. Like posting pictures of like people naked without their permission and like everything under the sun you could think of, just terrible stuff.
Jesus.
And he gets away with it in a sense because there's that class system, and you don't talk about that stuff. We don't talk about, you're not going to go to the House of the Dragon interview and interview someone's brother, but you should regularly because it's, it's an interest. It's a weird culture we're in. That's why we're saying about. That's what it was interesting when you talked about like artists as well, because there's a lot of cool young indie or like alternative artists from like Ireland and stuff who are getting more airtime, which is interesting because naturally they're a bit more outspoken about their views and good on them. And there's a lot of minorities and stuff who are amazing artists. But yeah, we just see a lot of loud voices, and it's the same on Twitter. You see a lot of stupidity going out, especially today, sadly.
One person I do want to champion though is Daniel P. Carter, who works for BBC Radio 1. He does play a lot of like alternative and younger bands that have a message. Like he does play a lot like bands like Stray from the Path and bands like that who actually are saying something, not just trying to get on radio play, which is fine if you want to do that. If you want to make a career out of it, hell, that's what I'm trying to do.
Yeah,
do it. But like, I prefer our artists to have a message because like you mentioned, what do the youth have to cling on to at the minute? Nothing really. It's more of, Charlie, I don't know if you agree with this, it's more of getting the Tories out as opposed to getting in someone who can do the job. I mean, you look at the state of the Rwanda bill and everything around that. It was just it's an absolute farce. Like this country has just become an absolute laughingstock, and
it's so laughable, and everything that people cling onto in terms of nationalism is a lie, and it's bollock. Oh, can I swear? Is that a British swear? Does that count?
Dude, look, man, this algorithm, think about how dumb this shit is. You think it's going to pick up on something that isn't one of our words? We don't think outward. The Silicon Valley guys, they don't know
line.
They don't
bollocks.
Yeah. I know you can't say the C word that we like to use a lot.
Apparently that is not American friendly. No, it is not. Generally. That's reserved for my text with Charlie.
I don't know. There's a lot of Americans who seem like...
Well, people fit the bill. Yeah,
they do. No, but it's more about getting the Tories out, like you said, because it is the extent you can't see a GP, you can't go to a dentist. Kids' healthcare, like dentistry, is terrible at the minute. I have the specialized treatment. I've got my first GP like appointment in about 2 years, which is ridiculous. Train strikes happening all the time. Health strikes. We've got. I mean, the place.
Don't forget to clap for them, guys. Don't worry about paying them a fair wage. Just make sure you clap.
Let's
for
do those
them.
moments.
But if they ask for money,
we need to engage. I mean, I remember last year going, to visit y'all and do Star Wars Celebration. There was talk like right before we went of like, hey, keep in mind that a large part of Heathrow is going to be inactive because of the strikes, and like it might affect these gates, and it was like, oh, like you love to see it, but at the same time, again, I hate that we ever had to get there. The same thing that happened over here with with the guilds and everything. And by the way, everybody watching, keep in mind, you can steer this conversation. We don't just have to talk about the end of the world, but it's just inevitable. I mean, if I published the DMs between me and Maddie, we would probably they would arrest Maddie first.
Yeah, absolutely. I would have MI5, CIA, FBI right on my door. Like, no, this guy
right here.
can't contain him.
We've heard your complaints and demands for better salaries and working conditions. In light of those conversations, please enjoy this pizza party.
That's I don't know
You
what
went
character
from
that
posh
is.
aristocrat to
I don't know
like,
where it ended.
corner shop owner.
I
Very
don't know where it
quickly.
ended. But you know what?
Well,
They
Went
all
like,
do that
"It's
shit.
heard your
They all
complaints
do
and
it.
demands to, all right, mate, what a pizza
Kind of like an
party."
old timey-wimey
Oh,
radio
oh,
host,
all
like,
right, all
oh
right,
yes,
repeat
in the
it.
1940s we
Oh,
used
yeah.
to speak like this on the
We have
tube.
heard your complaints and demands for better salaries and working conditions.
Hang on, you do that, and
yeah.
I'll be Jeffrey Rush, trying to help you to talk.
Jeffrey Rush. What is Jeffrey? I'm
can
gonna
do it,
send
mate.
Jeffrey Rush the link. I'm gonna send Jeffrey Rush the link and see what he's up to. I hope he has
All
good
right,
takes.
buddy.
God, whenever I look into any older actor and what they're doing, it's always like a risky click. Like,
Yeah.
am I about to see a take that is just so violently stupid? Like not everybody could be Christopher Eccleston, is what I'm saying. You know,
Dead Man's
like,
Chest was the best film. Ah.
look, I'm gonna say this right now.
Here
I'm
we
about to
go.
speak. I'm about to speak my truth. I'm about to
Okay,
speak
go
my
on.
truth. Hold on. Pirates of the Caribbean at World's End is the best one. It's not the first one. It's not Dead Man's Chest. 4 and 5, get out of here. It is at World's End. It's the best one. I don't know why we're still having this conversation. Thank you.
Hey man, you gotta speak your truth sometimes.
Thank
But you
boys.
have watched it.
At World's End. It's so good. One of the best. One of the best. Gore Verbinski.
Isn't that
Gore
the
Verbinski's out of
Cornetto
directed
trilogy
jail.
movie? At World's End?
Yeah.
Oh,
it's
yeah,
the
the
very
best
same. The very
But
same.
again, a very underrated film.
That is underrated. I think because that's one of those situations where because it shares a banner with two classics that people just kind of forget it, but it's good. It's really good.
I also think people don't understand it.
That could be it too. I mean, well, hold on. Are you saying it's a media literacy issue?
Uh-oh, we've used the words.
We're gonna go another hour.
Alden, when you found out the Force was called Fred's in Star Wars, did you blow your load this week?
You know,
Just
a little bit. I get it. Like we don't do a lot of Star Wars on Anytime because we do so much of it other places. But I will say, I'm just like I'm not surprised by Acolyte hatred because let's just be straight up. This is the worst it's been since post Last Jedi, maybe post Tross, but I would say post Last Jedi in terms of loudness and stupidity. It is the worst it's been. And just say you don't get it. Just say you don't have taste. Or further than that, I think there's an instinct that a lot of us have and I tweeted about this a little bit, but like to want to downplay it and extinguish it. And, you know, the instinct becomes, guys, you know, if you don't like it, just don't watch. If you don't like that is very well intentioned and would be nice if we lived in that logical world, but we don't. Because it doesn't matter if they watch or not. They'd still be doing it. Like it's not about the material. It's not about convincing them that this does make sense. It's not about convincing them that it doesn't break Anakin's lore, which it doesn't. It's not about convincing them of any of this stuff. All they saw was Amanda Stenberg, who is a black non-binary performer, and it was on. Then they added in an Asian Jedi Master. Then they added in more black Force users. Then they added in a couple Padawans that are women. And they added in, the Jedi Master in this, Vernestra, she's a woman. And she comes from those woke books. Like, it has nothing to do with them liking it or not liking it or engaging or not engaging. This is the American and to a large degree British culture war coming to the forefront that they want to keep fighting. And they don't care. And we don't have to share space with them. You know, you can just block. You can just tell them to fuck off. Sometimes I resist a lot of the and I get it. I'm not disagreeing with any of our friends that say it, but sometimes our friends and other great people will say, Star Wars fandom, can be so toxic. Star Wars fandom. I don't claim these people. No. That's the first thing. I don't claim they're not a part of Star Wars fandom in my mind. Star Wars fandom, are people that I love and can cuddle and drink wine with, like y'all. I don't. These are interlopers, grifters, leeches that come into this space and all spaces, appropriate it, and act like they love it, and twist it.
Yeah, I'm very guilty of, especially the last couple of weeks on my show. I've been talking about and I've been naming names and I've been calling these people out, and I've listened back to it and kind of found myself sounding like a journalist you and I both know quite well, Alden, of Ariel Helwani, and just been like, what are we doing? Why? And I've had to look into like more internally, be like, why am I even giving voice to these people?
Mhm.
Like, there's enough negativity around art in general, let alone The Acolyte. I mean, I posted that I really, really love The Acolyte. It's a show I went in completely blind. I didn't watch any of the TV spots, I didn't look up anything, didn't watch any of Force Center, any Star Wars Explained. Like, it was hard not supporting my friends because I really wanted to go into this show blind. And I just tweeted, I really, really love The Acolyte. Next thing I know, bots, just a whole stream of bots saying, oh, you're deranged, you're calling me the F slur that I used to get called when I was a kid. You know, it's I don't know. You asked me the question, what do we do?
It's difficult. The truth is, it's very, very easy to want to fight these people. And I'm probably going to sound really snobbish here, and I do apologize. Because they are very stupid. And when you see stupid people, it's very easy to want to be like, you're stupid. But one of my favorite people on this planet is David Tennant. A person who is very pro trans rights, you know, has trans children themselves, very outspoken about things. And he talked about the fact that he said this at a con, I can't remember how many years ago. The way we should view social media is like how we should view it in real life. If you're walking across the street and someone is pointing at you and screaming gibberish at you, you do not walk up to them and try and talk to them and have a reasonable conversation. You keep walking and you just block it out. And that's what you should do on social media. You just block. And because that's what they want. The oxygen. It's a fire. If you give oxygen to the fire, it spreads. You block
What's
it.
that book? What's that book that you've been trying to get me to read for the last few years? I still haven't read.
Oh, I have to try and find it again. Bear with me.
It's I want to say something crash something. It's about online toxicity and
it is,
and like the bullying and the space and everything.
Crash Override by Zoe Quinn. Very, very great.
Crash
read.
Override.
Definitely. Yeah.
I'll check that out. That sounds actually like super interesting book.
That is your Sean Room with a great point. This is all similar to how I feel about conservatives' opinions of liberals. I wish the show was even half as explicitly progressive as these shows complain about it being. Yeah, I mean that's Sean. This is exactly what you know the opinions of liberals. I remember in the lead up to 2020, like the radical left, and it's like, you mean the party that picked Joe Biden? Yeah, hardly. Like that's like saying like the radical leftist Perrin Furfa. It's like. No, he's just there to eat hors d'oeuvres and talk shit while people like Mothma and Luthen and like are actually trying something. It's pretty broken.
I saw that video of Biden the other day when he kind of checked out, and all I could hear was just like the AOL dial-up in my head.
It's pretty great. Like it's pretty awful, but it's pretty great. Like comedically, extremely funny. Another. You know, because we are going anywhere here. Another little sharp pivot into a different world, different galaxy.
Yeah, let's do it. Anything you guys have?
Jared says second best doctor. Now,
that's
Dr. Cox. Oh no, Dr. Kelso.
Dr. Now this is a loaded thing, and I'm sitting here with you know two people that probably had Doctor Who more fundamentally in their souls than I or any American ever could. Even if an American was raised over there. Okay, so not you. I was gonna ask. So Charlie is a you know born and bred Doctor Who diehard historian, knows it like the back of his hand. You also are a British man. I don't know if you knew that. And so in terms of like the Doctor Who and Bond, like those two things that became global. Do you have love for either of these things, or it was just like whoosh, like it wasn't in your house or anything like that? Natty.
Oh, sorry. I thought you were asking Charlie.
Oh no,
Doctor Who. No, it was around. I was just never super into it. I would watch like if the Christmas specials were on, I'd watch those. Bond was another thing that kind of like my granddad used to watch it a lot. and if it was on the telly in the house, I would watch it. But no, I was more, if we're talking Bond, it was more Mission Impossible for me, like the show and the films.
Right.
Get
Sorry,
out of
Charlie.
here. I'm joking.
Next time I see you,
Cultural
I will,
traitor.
I will give you my passport and my citizenship. I will hand it
No,
over
don't
to
be
you, mate.
silly.
No, I've recently started watching Doctor Who. I've literally watched half of one episode. I jumped in on the one where David Tennant regenerates, and then I was like, oh, I've jumped in on a scene where there seems to be some kind of invasion going on. I should probably go back. But because Hot D was my entryway into the Game of Thrones universe, I think I'm actually going to start with 11 because I do really love Matt Smith. So I think I'm probably gonna.
And it's a healthy point. I mean, like the beginning of 11, the beginning of 13, and the beginning now of 15 are all really easy and healthy, I think, ways to choose. And I would say, Charlie, would you say the beginning of 10, or like, because at that point it's like, well, just fucking watch 9. Like it's like you're right there.
No, I'd say watch 9. I'd start with series 1. I mean, if you binge American TV, they're relatively short. And get shorter. I just think it's a very intriguing way to start, and it's a good sort of reintroduction to the show.
Yeah, but if you're not starting with Eccleston, who's the 9th, you can't really go wrong with 11. And I think a lot of people are finding success right now with Ncuti Gatwa, who has effortlessly slipped into this role, and also just the history like that. He, Ncuti speaks, and you're just like, oh yeah. There was never a doubt.
Yes, someone very dear to me sent me not the most recent episode, the episode before, and I watched it, and I was blown away when I first watched it. But when they were talking to me about what it meant, all the subtle things, I like to think that I can catch certain messages that are being shown in my face, but I missed quite a lot of it. I missed quite a lot of the point, and it was damn near like having an existential crisis. Like, wow, like a real slap in the face. And Ncuti is amazing, just incredible. I've only seen one episode with them in, and I already can't wait to watch the rest.
We got some Baker love here, Matt, but Gatwa could take that number 1. Like
Ncuti is great. Ncuti is incredible. Yeah,
he's great. More Smith. I'm a Smith person. Charlie knows this.
Yeah. Who's yours, Charlie? Who's your favorite? And who's your favorite Bond as well?
Look at him. Look at him. About to pull out a fucking scroll. Look at him. He's dying. He's struggling.
My little Capaldi.
So Capaldi now at this point?
I think Capaldi's my favorite. I think, but again, it's the same character in my mind, so I like all of them.
Sure.
There's not one Doctor I don't like.
Okay. Well, Charlie might have frozen. I'm going to.
Oh, sorry.
Nope. You're back. You're back.
Wow, you did like a Tintin, just like change his outfit like that.
I know, that was amazing. He regenerated. This is the second Charlie. He's a different guy.
I'm the 14th Charlie.
Different actor.
Yeah. So sorry about my internet.
You're good.
Yeah, they're all the same character to me. So but I love what they all do individually.
Sure.
So it's difficult. I love all of them.
No, stop being a coward and choose. All that being said,
again, I think Capaldi and Clara mean a lot to me. They help me get through a hard time, so naturally I'm drawn to those two chaotic beings. I think it's interesting because we have our favorites, but also me and Alden often like describe people as doctors who we feel like we are, and I think ours are very apt.
No. See what else again?
Yeah. Give him a second. It might.
You're
back.
You're back.
It's the British skip. Yeah. We sort of prescribe ourselves as doctors. I feel like me and Alden, which is intriguing sometimes. Like who did you say I was again recently? The 14th one.
You come off to me soulfully like 14, which we've only had him. He only existed for a couple of years, but only 4 key stories. But there's like the whole aspect, because you one thing you talk about, not to like just like divulge personal stuff, but one thing you talk about a lot about is healing and coming out of grief and working through anxiety and everything. And 14 is the foundations of 10, and how could he not be? But with the life experiences and the sometimes very explosive, and in Capaldi's case, very rock and roll life experiences that came later, but is literally about revisiting things, reflecting, and taking a fucking break. Like that, symbolically the face comes back because of unfinished business, but it's not just plot unfinished business, it's soul unfinished business. And then RTD didn't destroy that face. He told that face to go sit and move into a house and live a little.
That's why I like the Doctor as well, is that it's a reminder that you can be different people throughout your life, but you're still the same person. You're still the same person, but you are different people throughout your life. And it's important to carry those on or recognize those parts of you, not to just ignore them, which I feel like, it's a nice reminder of those sort of things. But yeah, I think our best Doctor companion.
We'll answer this right after you say what you were going to say. We'll do best companion.
No, forget that. Let's go into it.
Okay, so I mean, look, I feel like at the risk of just like becoming a self-parody, it's like I have to choose Amy Pond. I have to choose Amy Pond. I mean, it was the first time most of the world saw Karen, although I'm sure there's some obscure British show that she was
in
on
Doctor Who Series 4 episode.
Well, yes, but there's like with every British actor fucking ever. If you say, "Oh, the first time I saw them was in this," some British person, Charlie, will show up and be like, "They were actually dead body number 6 in this show."
In Walking the Dead.
It's like when Daisy Ridley was cast, and everyone was like complete unknown, and British people were like, "Nope, she was dead in this." Now, yeah, I mean, Amy is, her arc of being really explosive and not knowing what she wants at the beginning and almost wrecking her marriage, because of anxiety and the the lack of surety and being young, and moving into being this hero and this mom and all these things that she would become. The sibling relationship that she has with 11 by the end, can be summed up so beautifully, I think, in the scene where he does show up for Christmas and it's been 2 years and neither will say they missed the other, but they're standing there all stubborn, but they immediately hug. That is the type of friendship that really resonates with me. And so I miss her, and I love what Karen brings to all of her parts. I think she's a brilliant actress, and and I would hope that 5 years from now we could mention maybe Rogue in this conversation, who I think is probably one of the best first episodes for any supporting character in a long time.
This is why I love talking about art with you guys. Like, Charlie, I know I haven't had much of an opportunity to talk to you about like TV shows and music and stuff, but like, you guys go like so in depth with what you take from these stories. Like, Charlie, what you said about like grief and taking parts of yourself with you, that was beautiful. That was so beautifully put. I mean, it's kind of like the Bruce Lee quote of take what is useful, discard what is not, create what is uniquely your own. It was I could sit here and listen to you two talk about this stuff all day. I can't wait to watch the rest of Who. Alden, listening to you, Ken, and everyone talking about Game of Thrones and House of the Dragon was one of the big influences for me to actually jump into that universe. So, it's great that we still have people like you guys and everyone else that we're friends with that contributes to this space, that we can have these conversations and have like see past the actual medium that has been created to the message that comes from it and what we take from it. I think that's the ultimate thing, that with these things you can, going back to the conversation we had about all the online hate and everything, like you just gotta look beyond it and take what you take from these shows, from these from any medium that you consume, any art that you consume, it has its own personal meaning to you, and you take that with you. It's like, or you know how much I love Kojima, man. Like we take these stories with us and pass them along to the next generation. They take those stories and not just what we took from them, what they take from them and pass them along. So these stories that people, you know, like Doctor Who, Star Wars, are telling, these are important. Like people sometimes say to me, like they'll watch Holy Snokes and they'll be like, dude, why are you talking about Star Wars like that? It's not that deep. It is deep. These are stories that people are telling from their interpretation of their life experiences and their souls, what life means to them. Yeah. So for us to keep passing those on to the next generation is a super, super important thing to do. And I'm just grateful to have guys like you and Ken and everyone really that we're friends with in our space that pushes these forward.
Well, thank you for those kind words, man. And I know I speak for Charlie when I say appreciate it. And also, we don't know any other way, but as we've realized that it's maybe not necessarily the way everybody else does business, so to speak, it's like it becomes increasingly important, because when you have people connecting with these things the way that we do and our friends do, you know, when you see you know, Black kids around the world that are seeing a Black doctor right now running around and being openly themselves and having a queer romance, when you see little girls, you know, in 2015 watching, you know, The Force Awakens, and when she catches the lightsaber, realizing that they could do that, or they could be that, or they could make that they could tell a story like that, like or that want to become a filmmaker, or when you, or any of these things, you know, that's why it becomes important to stand for it, you know, not to just have these conversations, but also to say, like you're talking about on Holy Snokes, with PLD, like it, when people say it's not that deep, no, it is, because of everything that we bring into it. And like, yeah, it's easy for us sometimes to have cite our sources, which is good. You know, we can academically fight, like, you know, Star Wars isn't political. Oh, fuck you, it is, man. And here's 10 George Lucas videos. You know, that's very easy for us to do. But even if George had never, even if George was literally just, I'm doing a space opera, let's say he was the most, never gave an interview, it still wouldn't matter. It still wouldn't matter, because it is so much about like what you bring to it. Like I talked about this with Ken in text the other day, where we're talking about like acolyte hatred and things, and like people saying like, well, it's just not well written. It's like, okay, man, like that's your opinion, but like nobody walks like the last time I was at the MoMA, like nobody was walking around being like, it's just not well painted. Like, no, you just fucking look at it, and if that's not for you, go to the next room. Like
anyone that says, oh, it's bad writing, show me something you have written, please. Like
I'll tell you this. I'll tell you this now. Me and a good friend of the show, Goose, from Tried of the Force, were at the British Museum about 2 weeks ago, and there was this staunch little guy, very, very angry, and he was very
grip hook. Like who was this? Who was this guy? Like
he looked like a Martin Short character, and he was criticizing the art. And I just want you to, this is how stupid this is, okay? The exhibition we were in was Michelangelo. He was criticizing Michelangelo. To have like the balls in this man to openly say it out loud, and I was getting so angry. And again, I appreciate all the kind words, but it's true. Like, you know, stories, they are important, and whether it's visual, but if you cut it to its basis, its core, these are verbal stories. And I hate when people say, "Oh, well, this is just about this." It's like, but that's fine. Stories at their core are a verbal tradition to teach you something.
Yes.
Like the first stories were there to teach you about basic things, like fire is bad. You might burn yourself. You know, you're not going to go to a caveman and go, "Sorry, Igor. I'm not sure I agree with the mise en scene in this. Like, shut up. It's about
Igor bludgeons.
The pacing of the flames is just so off.
Yeah, 100%. Charlie's lagging a little bit, but yeah, like
crooked media.
Yeah,
trying to block my message.
They're trying to make cavemen woke, folks. They're trying to turn them into woke men.
Also,
They're-
can I just shout out? There was
Yeah.
a comment from Eli earlier, which sounded like Trump giving
Oh.
a review to the Acolyte.
Oh, I need
Uh,
to hear that. You do a
I
pretty
just
good,
wanna-
Trump, so I want to hear this.
Oh, was it this? Absolutely
worse since
since
TLJ.
TLJ.
In some ways, worse.
Yeah, and like
in
for the
some
record,
ways, it's
Eli-
somehow worse.
Eli is
Yeah.
talking about the discourse, but it is very funny out of
I know.
context.
Sorry.
I will say before we let you go, Maddie,
Mm.
and bring some other people in, I want to, in regards to what you're saying, this story from JMB, I love this. One of the most ridiculous criticisms I heard not long ago was over Pixar's Turning Red, where dudes complained they couldn't identify with a teenish Asian girl. You mean you can't identify with going through puberty, navigating school, your parents, your friends, obligations? I'm not an Asian teenager, but I remember how difficult it could be to navigate school, parents and friends' expectations, and trying to figure out who I was. Yeah, it's almost like there are ties that bind and individual experiences. Like, it truly is. Like, media literacy becomes a buzzword, and like, yeah, a lot of us say it a lot, me included. But that is the issue. Like, my favorite thing that I've said, and Eli's about to cross something off his Alden bingo card. Like, there are people out there. There are people who think that Jaws is about the shark. And it's like, and until we do something about that, we're fucked. Like there has to be some sort of like, I'll use my mother, who I just love so much. I adore her. And maybe she'll hear this. My mom was watching Godzilla -1. And she wasn't feeling it. She wasn't feeling it, which is to be expected. That's not really her scene. But I told her, she's like, I just don't really get Godzilla. I was like, Mom, what's your favorite film? And I knew what she would say because we've talked about this. She says, oh, Halloween. I said, Godzilla in this film is like Michael Myers. He's a force. I was like, forget giant lizard. Like, it doesn't matter. In that original Halloween film, it doesn't matter what he wants, what he comes from, what he does, what he thinks. They expanded on that later, just like there are films where Godzilla is a parent and films where Godzilla like has clear allegiance. In this, it's about these human beings, how they react, what they're going through, grief, trauma, honor. Like, it's all that stuff. And this comes from high school or secondary school or college, uni, whatever terminology you're using wherever you are. This comes from courses where we let kids sit there and be like, it's just yellow because it's yellow. No, sometimes it's not. And you have to listen to your underpaid, underappreciated teacher when they're trying to tell you what's going on. I love this comment here from Kiwi Jess. One of my favorite films in the world is Lilo and Stitch, despite not adopting an alien puppy and being hunted by the intergalactic government. I identify with the themes of found family and adoption. Exactly.
Right there, that's
That's
perfect
it.
analogy from Jess. Like,
how beautiful is it that on rewatches, when we start to put things together, I can't take credit for this. This is a popular post that goes viral every once in a while, but you watch Lilo and Stitch, and Lilo's thing right from the beginning with Pudge the fish is that Pudge controls the weather. There are clues throughout the film that Lilo and Nani's parents died because of some sort of accident that was like weather related or like a car crash or like a storm, something like that. Maybe it's an offhanded dialogue, but like Lilo is traumatized and her sister has to raise her, and she's thinking about control and how if I give this peanut butter and jelly sandwich to this fish, things will be okay and things will be righted. And then this being of chaos comes along, but through the chaos brings the family together. And so it's Stitch, much like E.T., is becoming like he's lost and people are hunting him, but through giving the family something to protect and guard, they have a new glue. Stitch can't replace their parents, but Stitch helps them heal. And you will probably have people out there that are like, it's just about an alien dog. And it's like, I'm sorry, I can't take you seriously.
Yeah, no, I'm sorry. Lilo is a pro Elvis apologist.
Lilo did not Priscilla. Watch Sofia Coppola's film Priscilla, which, by the way, fucking rules. Real quick, before we let you go, Maddie, what is your go-to 2 a.m. food from 8984M?
oh God, Go to 2 a.m. film, 2 a.m. food. That's a good question because I'm usually asleep at about 2 a.m. If I'm out, just a good old fashioned kebab would do me fine. Just
Yes,
pop
boss.
into yes, boss man. Yes, boss man. Anything, boss man. Shout out to Diamond Kebab in Guildford. The what's the one? If Charlie, if you're ever in Guildford, around the back of the train station, best kebab I've ever had.
I'm on it.
And just a good old fashioned kebab at 2 a.m. when you're coming home from a gig. Can't beat it.
Hell yeah. Charlie?
I
2 a.m.?
once made a really great lasagna and then left half of it because I knew that I'd go out drinking. And when you come back at like 2, 3 a.m. in the morning and you've made yourself a homemade lasagna, I tell you, no hangover that morning. Completely
The long game when past you looks out for future you and does things like that is, I mean, there's nothing more beautiful than that. Real quick, Maddie, before you go, is it true that you exclusively eat appletinis?
It is true. It is definitely true. Appletinis, apples, anything, but it has to be easy on the teeny. Can't stress that enough.
Okay.
Appletini, easy on the teeny.
Maddie, easy on the teeny gunner. Tell us not where we can find you, where we can find your show, and where we can listen to and download your songs and your new releases, and check out your weekly. I don't want to say mix. I guess mix, but
it's a mix.
Yeah,
it's
playlist.
a playlist.
Mix.
It's a playlist. At Matty Morner on all social media. I'm on the Holy Snokes podcast with Paul Denuso, POD, over on the POD Project's YouTube channel every Wednesday, talking Acolyte at the minute, like everyone else is. My band Morner, if you like fast, I call it positive mindful aggression because my lyrics do come from a very positive place, other than one we got coming up, but that's neither here nor there. Fast, aggressive music, if you like that. Mourner, MOURNER, on all streaming services. We are everywhere. Brand new song dropping soon. And I have a playlist every week that I drop called Morning Radio, MOURNING. I do know how to spell. I am a lyricist. I just put up the best bands that you guys, if you're into this kind of music, need to listen to, need to hear about, because I'm tired of reaction channels asking bands, small bands, local bands, to pay upwards of $200, which is more than it takes to record a song, just for 30 seconds of footage. I'm trying to nip that exploitation shit in the bud. But guys, I love you both. Thank you for having me on. When you sent me the message saying I'll send you the link, I was like, oh, cool, let's do this.
Well, I know you're down to clown, and I value your opinion, and I can't wait to see you in Japan. And to talk again soon, my friend. Thank you.
All right. Love you, boys.
See you soon.
Love you, man. Hate that guy.
Wow.
We'll go for a little bit longer here.
Yeah, sure.
I know sometimes Ken has his Friday meetings and everything, and so but since it's more relaxed, chill, make up for the fact that we've had a couple shorter shows recently, I will stick around. Charlie, you stay as long as you want. Let's see here. I don't know if you have an answer for this. It'd be a short one. Who's your Star Trek captain?
I mean, I kind of grew up with my dad's a big Trekkie. I did grow up with Picard, but I do like Kirk.
Yeah, I'm a Captain Janeway person from
Janeway. Yeah,
I do love me some Janeway, and then I love Strange New Worlds. So like Pike is up there as well lately.
I also think I'm a big fan of the Kelvin Kirk.
Yeah, I love. Oh yeah, Pine Kirk, amazing. Yeah, he's really great. Let's see here from Eli at Nina Galaxy. If you could take a single comic series, Star Wars, Marvel, DC, anything, and convert it into a live action film, TV show, what would you pick? So obviously the specificity here being, we're not saying what character would you want to give us to. You're taking a series, you're taking a run. A later comment from Eli said adapting the Charles Soule's like Kira trilogy into Star Wars animation or something like that. So an actual run arc and adapted into live action.
Interesting.
That is an interesting question. Now, I have different answers across. Yeah, like in Marvel, I kind of got my wish because for years I would have said Matt Fraction's Hawkeye, and then they blended from it really heavily in the series. So that I pretty much got. I also would have said God of Thunder, and then they used gore, and yeah, it was very different, but like it was its own valid version. So those two are taken care of. There are lots of, I mean, DC Mr. Miracle is a huge one that I think is one of the, I'm looking at my shelf. I think is one of the best books in ages. DC, under the DC umbrella, Vertigo, American Vampire, man. How there's no American Vampire show on HBO or AMC or one of those shows.
They're working on it, I think, right?
But yeah, I think the rights are sold, but it's just like I don't know when they plan on doing something with it. Yeah, Afra on like a network style. Oh, so you're saying like Afra on like ABC or Afra on CW, something like that. That could actually be really fun, honestly. That'd be interesting. 8984M. Doing Death of the Family. Does Death of the Family not have? Oh, I guess this is live action because they have animation for Death of the Family, right?
No, it's
Death
of
In.
the Fam.
Death In versus Death Of. Death Of
Yeah.
is the Scott Snyder. Yeah,
Yeah.
100%. Liv says Driveway is killed in his comics. Fuck yes.
Yeah. I would love Chloe Bennett as Afra. That'd be awesome if we're going to do that TV route.
Yeah, Chloe Bennett would be interesting. I also really like Ellen Wong, who played Knives.
Oh, that'd be great. Yeah,
she'd be so good.
Do you know what would be good if they adapted Watchmen?
Yeah, you know what? That would be so interesting. What if they adapted Watchmen? Stay with me. What if they adapted Watchmen? And then what if they did a director's cut of the Watchmen adaptation? And then what if they did an ultimate cut of the Watchmen adaptation? And then what if then we waited a few years and then we did an adaptation that was actually a sequel to the text, not to the adaptation. So we did it maybe on HBO. And then what if we then didn't continue that and then did a 2-part big budget animated adaptation of the text? That
interesting.
And then what if we did a comic called Doomsday Clock that was also a sequel to the text, but wasn't guys?
What if there were 3 Jokers? I'd love to be a pigeon in that DC room.
What if there were 3 Jokers? That should be the end of every pitch meeting ever. What if now we killed?
I'm trying to think. Yeah, a good run from like all of the different arcs.
Afra Young Indy is exactly the model. That's exactly the model. Young Indiana
and the
Jones.
Best because the best. I've always said Afra would be great to do because you have the benefit of being able to use like props and stuff from all the different era productions you're doing.
Yes, absolutely.
You do a Clone Wars like style looking in a droid factory. You could do like a High Republic section or Old Republic, blah blah blah. That'd be fun.
Any DC stories or anything that sticks out to you, specific arcs? We just spent like 2 minutes joking, but
I mean, I'd love to see like there's an issue of Batman that came out in 2019 maybe a few years ago. It was an Batman Annual 4. And that was just, I think what it does really well is that it blends all the Batman stories together and gives it so it's not like, it's kind of similar to what Grant Morrison was saying, but rather than having, because their explanation was that all the gas toxins and stuff got in their head over the years, and they had all these like hallucinogens. Whereas this story prefaces it by saying, no, this is just what he does in a week. One day he's solving a serial killer case, and then the next day he happens to be fighting a transdimensional being or a dinosaur.
Yeah,
but he puts his life on the line, and I think you could do a really clever way of doing that.
Who amongst us hasn't had a week like that?
Sometimes you got to do it. You have a zebra suit. Who hasn't had a zebra suit before? That would be my Batman one. I mean, it'd probably be Batman related because I love the character so much.
Yeah.
Hush, I don't think it's ever been done properly.
No, I agree. I think if anyone could do it, I think the Reeves Pattinson team, they are ripe for two things in that world. One is Hush, the other is the Court of Owls. That both feel like they would perfectly slide in, especially Court of Owls, because the Batman is so heavily concerned with history, like the Wayne was it the Renewal Fund, and like what actually went down with Thomas and Martha, and what actually is the connection to Carmine, and what actually is the connection to the Arkhams, because she's an Arkham in Reeves's adaptation. And so it's like
She's an
there is
Arkham.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry, I don't throw for another Jerry in there. No, I think there's more you can do with that. My only issue is that the Riddler in their universe is kind of a mixture of Hush and Riddler.
Yeah, he does have of like being
so
wronged
how do you blend
by
that?
them, and so much
really
so that Riddler even does a Hush Easter egg in that film. There's even on the screen, so it's like they're very aware of that. In terms of other things, there's lots of Daredevil that still hasn't been done. There's fucking a plethora of Spidey that hasn't been done.
I could talk for ages about. I think the noughties Spidey one would be great, but I'd love to do a comic series of Spidey if I ever had the chance, and bring back two characters that I feel like have been underrated in recent years, which are the additional Stacys.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
George and Jill.
Sure.
They were great characters. They just sort of abandoned. A Hobgoblin project would be awesome if you could adapt the whole Hobgoblin arc of the symbiote suit in there.
I could be down for that. Star Wars comics wise. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. There's that really dark comic in I think it was the end of the 90s or noughties when Norman Osborn drugs Peter ends up becoming the Green Goblin and like slowly like gaslighting him over the. I think he like drugs his toothpaste without him knowing, and so this Green Goblin attacks that keep attacking all his friends. Peter realizes it's him all along doing it. And then he takes him to his childhood home where his dad, like Norman's dad, beat him up and kept him in a dark room. I was like, that's the sort of stuff I was reading when I was 6. I was like, yeah, cool. So that'd be fun.
Yeah, I mean, the long and short of it is that there's so much of everything. I'm looking at my shelf right now, and just in terms of what I can see, behind figures and statues and things. I mean, Tom King's Vision, Superman Birthright, most of Constantine Hellblazer's whole mythology, all of the Earth One stuff for the most part. Batman Noel, Rat Queens, The Black Mirror. We've had Long Halloween in multiple forms. Batwoman. Oh my God. All of the Kate Kane stuff, like Elegy and all of the J.H. Williams III and W. Hayden Blackman material. Charles Soule's Letter 44, Sex Criminals. How is Sex Criminals not an HBO comedy? At this point, like, oh, that would be so good.
Anything Chip Zdarsky. Yeah. Oh, Chip Zdarsky's him and he pitched the Howard the Duck film. That would be great. That would be great to see.
That'd be great.
Instead of Star Wars, I think that a fun comedy would be the current Vader run. And have like it be like a
fun comedy.
It is a little bit, you got like it's like, I fall in love with my wife's doppelganger.
Well, who hasn't? Again, these are, leave a like and a comment if you've fallen in love with your spouse's doppelganger before. Oh, here's a question for you. Are you ready? Yay or nay on Twin Peaks?
Yay. I do the Twin Peaks podcast.
In short, yay. In short, yay for both of us, but especially for Charlie, because I've seen Twin Peaks, beginning to end, but I don't think I live and breathe it as much as you do, for sure.
I love Twin Peaks.
Yeah, it in and out. And just David Lynch in general. I honestly should try to put more Lynch into this show. where I should start truly doing anytime, and just
Yeah.
showing up with like a 480p camera and being like,
And if you believe it,
hello
it's
and
Alden once
welcome,
again.
welcome to Anytime with Ken and Alden. We have something for your eyes and ears today.
Do you like the color blue?
Today I had a cup of coffee and a piece of toast. These are my antidepressants. They help
The
my
weather today, good.
brain. It is hot and there is no end in sight.
Could you just put Matthew's going up? July 14.
Any Ben Affleck picks today? No, I haven't done Ben Affleck the last couple of weeks. There are no Ben Affleck. I can give you Ken Napzok, but I don't have Ben Affleck at this moment. He apparently is going through it right now. So in
disingenuous.
in respect for my man, Freddie or Jason, Freddie, easily.
Yeah.
Easily. It's
I
not
don't know,
to shit
actually,
on
Jason's
those movies,
pretty cool.
but they're both cool. But Freddie is like Freddie not just haunted you and killed you, he memed his way through your existence. Which I think is Freddie was ahead of the curve in that way.
Yeah, I guess so.
What movie makes you not just cry but sob? Jared says E.T. E.T. is one for me,
E.T.
for sure.
Yeah, E.T. is definitely one.
I sobbed my way through a couple recent films. Come On was one of them. The Cha-Cha Real Smooth, I cried really hard. Again, to get to that sob level. Cha-Cha Real Smooth. Yeah.
This Cha-Cha again.
Cha-Cha again. I hate you.
Okay, sorry.
Now, yeah, because I cry at a lot of shit now. I cry and stuff now more as I get older than I ever did, through the years. I cried in Doctor Who last week. I'm sure I'll cry in Doctor Who tonight. In terms of full on sobbing, yeah, because like I cried in Godzilla -1, but I wasn't sobbing. You know what made me cry really hard? I've talked about it before on the show. There was that documentary on Disney Plus called The Last Repair Shop about these kids, these kids and these adults that work in a music instruments repair shop in LA. And they do a performance at the end of like all the kids that the repair shop has helped over the years. So you have like old people, middle-aged people, young people, all playing together with their repaired instruments. And whoo, let me tell you, the power of the human spirit.
Where the kids were all rubbish.
Let me tell you, the kids sucked. So I cried because the kids were ass. Are you saying Ben Affleck is fake? No. I mean, maybe the outward facing Ben Affleck. Maddie with a question. What would be the title of your memoirs? It's interesting because I texted you the other day. We had a conversation where our tombstones came up, and I, theorized that one day my tombstone would say Alden Diaz, 1995 to whenever I die, and then the subheading would be still working on that thing. Like just like whatever it is, that idea, that book, that podcast, whatever I told people about most recently before I died, TBD on that.
I made you a book cover once, right?
You did, yeah, and I wish I had uploaded it here. I don't know why I would have known to, but yeah, I had said in some context that I was annoyed on principle, and you made a book cover that was Annoyed on Principle by Alden Diaz.
Yeah,
which true.
What would be my book cover?
I feel like yours could be like CBA. Can't be ours. Can't be ours for that.
Lol.
Right fact in it. Like
I tried, but for question mark.
Alden born 1995 just crushed me. I am ancient. I'm sorry, JMB. I'm sure you wear it really well. Probably real handsome. I have no doubt. Very Jim handsome. I mean, we can only hope, Liv. We can only hope. Speaking of Alden, we should connect about that thing. Yeah, exactly. Call everyone. Call their memoirs like. Just need to circle back. Just bumping this up. Just revisiting this, as per my last email.
Oh God.
Um,
Come on,
favorite
guys. Get some
Power
questions.
Ranger. Favorite Power Ranger. Let me tell you about my boy, the Titanium Ranger. That's all I got. Titanium Ranger is the best Ranger of all time.
It's interesting you say that. He was a good one.
Other than that, I don't have strong Power Rangers.
The best one wasn't a Power Ranger. It was the Magna Defender, baby.
Okay. All right.
Do you remember that guy?
No.
Lost Galaxy. He was the Red Ranger's brother. He fell into a volcano, merged with another alien being, had this cool black suit,
Wow.
cape, two
You're
little
really
yellow
selling it
horns.
to me right now. You're really selling it to me.
I'll find the picture of the guy.
We're going to go for about 10, 15 more minutes, everyone. So drop your questions.
About the Magna Defender, please.
About specifically about the Magna Defender or David Lynch. We're assembling a team here.
Oh, it's blurry.
That's pretty badass, not going to lie.
Yeah, he's got a red cape. He's got a sword.
My new film, The Magna Defender.
Power Rangers.
David Lynch's Power Rangers. Oh my god!
Like Tom McLaughlin's one of the Rangers.
Laura Dern. Listen, I chose you kids because you have a lot of heart. I don't really know how you're going to solve this problem, but I believe in you.
Rita Repulsa has escaped the moon.
Oh, that's so funny. What the fuck is this, Sean? Where do you two stand on the trolley problem? Really?
So left.
Laser ball. I'm all for trolleys. No problem. Yeah, that's the official answer. That's the trolley problem.
Yeah, we need more. David Lynch's Power Rangers would be exceptional.
For those that don't know what the trolley problem is, I will read the Wikipedia definition because Wikipedia never lies, of course. The trolley problem is a series of thought experiments in ethics, psychology, and artificial intelligence involving stylized ethical dilemmas of whether to sacrifice one person to save a larger number. So it's, very, very needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few in that way. Where do I stand on it? Is it a cop-out to say like it's entirely situational? Because it is.
Yeah.
I mean, fiction tells us this, repeatedly. We just saw the other day, and it's come up a lot in Doctor Who history, of course. It's a big theme, especially of modern Doctor Who, because modern Doctor Who is built on the idea that he did choose the many, being the whole universe versus his own people. But the other day, he's asked by Jonathan Groff's new character, Rogue, could you sacrifice the world? Could you sacrifice your friend to save the world? And the Doctor says no. Like that's the place that he's at now emotionally. And so that is a different than what previous Doctors probably would have answered, and that is a unique place to put things. And big team trolley guys over here. Basically that scene in Dark Knight. Yeah, that's part of it. The decision at the end of Watchmen. Yep. Alden would figure out how to split the trolley in two so it kills everyone. I mean, that's because I'm equal opportunity. That's
trickle down economics.
I'll trickle this trolley down the road. That's my trickle down economics.
Everyone's equal.
We just need Lynch impressions for 2 hours. Maybe that'll be a spin-off show. We'll do this exact same show, but in black and white, with and we'll do a third. We'll have a third screen, and it'll just be like a stuffed animal.
It's backwards.
And we'll be like, "What do you think?" The stuffed animal just sits there, and we just do 90 seconds.
Do you believe in the soul?
I have here a cassette tape for Dua Lipa's Houdini. I wonder if she actually knew him. That
Did you escape from water?
These are Watto's chance cubes from episode 1. I will be rolling them to make all decisions for the next
We just
90 days.
We just re-released the entire Star Wars films with David Lynch doing the voices for everyone.
Oh, God.
That's Coruscant. The whole planet's a city.
Yeah, needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few. Yeah, I mean, yeah, in general, yes, we would hope.
It depends.
We would hope
If there's like a bunch of Tories and one child,
then perhaps not.
yeah,
Right,
That
because
child's
it's
a
like,
Tory, and then
yeah, I mean,
joke legally
legally speaking, I must note that is
clarify.
common.
Yes.
Interesting. Where the fuck do you get those cubes? I got them at Galaxy's Edge. Galaxy's Edge had them.
That's Qui-Gon's deleted scene.
Where the fuck did you get those cubes? Goodbye, Sean. Love you. Thanks for
We love
hanging
you,
out.
mate.
Any other last questions? It could be any topic. It does not have to be about Power Rangers, the Charlie Problem, David Lynch, or any of that. It could be about love, life,
What a quote.
the theory of everything. Feel free to throw it at us. I will once again remind everybody to like, retweet, follow, all that good stuff. Anytime on air, at anytime on air, spelled exactly the way you think it is. I am thataldendiaz. This is my special guest for today, Charlie Ashby from the Imperial Senate podcast. Ken Napzok will be back next week. I'll do this again. Let's plug Ken Napzok's Hot Burbank Night, Sunday, June 30th, the very first installment of this beautiful new endeavor of comedy shows, 7 p.m. That is, of course, in Pacific time. No, I'm not going to do it. Flappers Comedy Club, the Yoo-Hoo Room, featuring Mark Ellis, Jen Sturger, and Joe Starr. Names you'll be familiar with if you have been on the internet at all in the last 10 years. Some lovely people. Tickets, flapperscomedy.com. And we are now back. Last round of questions. Let's see. Ken Napzok will return. That's true.
Of course he will.
Let's see.
Our James Bond.
What are each of your top 3 non-Star Wars film series series properties? Okay, so not individual things. No, JMB, it hasn't been answered. Non-Star Wars properties. I mean, I think both of us would have Batman in the top 3, so that just immediately makes it 2 slots each.
Yeah, or comics in general.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, we could say just DC if you want. You could just say Marvel, but I'm just trying to challenge myself a little bit. I think I would probably say if with Star Wars completely off the board, I would say Batman. I would say
Star Wars, but non-films. It's like the comics.
Star Wars, but non-films. Oh, non-film Star Wars. I see what you're saying. So we're in Star Wars. Got it. That makes sense. Non-film. Oh, then Rebels is 1.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I think that's for both of us.
Rebels at number 1. I would say
Bad Batch.
Yeah, it's kind of getting there for me. I love it really deeply. I would say Rebels. I would say the High Republic Publishing Initiative. If I had to be specific about it, I would probably choose maybe if I had to like split it up, maybe just say the High Republic main novels, whatever, just to be more specific.
I'd say High Republic in general would be okay, because otherwise you could just go through episode by episode of like.
And Rebels. Saying Publishing Initiative is specific now because Young Jedi and Acolyte exist.
Yeah.
So it is more than one thing now. And then I do love me some Mandalorian as much as I deeply love the other shows.
Oh, I didn't even think about live action.
Obi-Wan Kenobi could also be the answer.
I'm gonna go with Kenobi. I don't know though.
Yeah, it's difficult.
I don't know.
That's a really good question.
Kenobi, I don't know if he has the. I don't think it has the best.
Yeah, like Andor, Bad Batch.
Kenobi has its issues. I'm not a big fan of sometimes how bits of it are filmed, but not a dig at anyone. Just personal opinion. But the story of it is just so. It's the thing I like revisit the most. I feel like
Obi-Wan Clone Wars, Ahsoka, Andor, Bounty Hunter Comics, Mando.
I really need to. I
yeah.
really need to catch up on the comics. I followed
Mhm.
them so desperately. I've recently bought Marvel Unlimited, so I can go back and full. I
There you
think
go.
last time I read it, Lobot was back. So, but yeah, I think the Kira thing just started, so I need to catch up on that. So I do love Kira. Oh, this is why it's so difficult. Yeah, like Fallen Order, you got the games and stuff.
Mhm.
I think it swaps, doesn't it? It always naturally just goes. Some things pop up, some things disappear. Mandalorian's fun, but I feel like out of the live action stuff, for me, that is up there. Yeah, what was the hate for Kenobi? I think people. I think a lot of it was obviously erased.
What was it?
So
What was with the hate for Kenobi? Oh, yeah. I mean, what was with the hate for it? Great fucking question. Like that, it really is. I mean, you were going to touch on the hate aspect of it, which of course is, that's an element of it that has nothing to do with the show, but unfortunately did infect it. I think people wanted one of two things, which was either some sort of deeply, deeply bleak, reflection on failure nonstop, which it is in a lot of ways, but nonstop for 6 episodes, or they wanted nothing but Anakin versus Vader for 6 hours. And what they got instead was Obi-Wan's grief story intertwined with a pulp adventure, intertwined with some Lone Wolf and Cub, with a Leia coming of age story as well, intertwined with Reva as a meditation on grief. They got still like light and heart mixed in there. Like you have the right to dislike whatever you want, but that above all other Disney era Star Wars things is the one where I'm like, I truly don't understand it. Like, I truly don't understand disliking it. To me, that show, nitpicks aside, production issues aside, whatever, we all know it was made during COVID. We can all talk about that all day. But it is the perfect bridge between George's two trilogies. It just really is.
Yeah, if you know me, I've spoken about this for ages, but for me, I know it's a joke. We always talk about, the gap between 3 and 4 being the most like delved into. But for me, there's a reason for that, and that's because it's ripe for storytelling purposes. The ending, like 3 to 4, opportunity to explore, because the two main themes of that whole structure and that whole era, the rise of the Empire, and this is why I love Bad Batch. This is why I love Kenobi. This is why I love all that stuff. It's because it has two main themes, which is tragedy and hope. And I think Obi-Wan Kenobi does really well is embrace both of those things, because you do have to have the grief and you do have to have the tragedy and the effect of the galaxy, but more importantly, you have to have hope. That's why I love when people say, "Oh yeah, Revenge of the Sith is has a very dark ending." Yes, but it ends on a beautiful light. The ending of that film is literally A New Hope. Like it's the hope of a better future. It's the hope of something good coming out of all of this, and that's important. And it's why I don't understand people's reticent and looking like undermining periods of hope because something bad might happen again. That doesn't undermine the hope at the time. It's why I don't understand the Luke in Episode 8 anger.
Or just in general, like, oh, the New Republic fell, so that means that the original trilogy effort doesn't matter. It's like, okay, so I guess we should just not have World War I monuments. Like, sorry to be callous and shitty about it, but like, that's how that sounds. That's the same logical track.
Yeah, it's like, oh, well, you can have peace for 20 years. It's like, well, yeah, that's the whole point.
There was a value in it.
This is what I want to bring up. We're not gonna ban you, JMB. No, I don't enjoy Youngling killing. I think I made a point about this earlier because people were talking about R rating in Star Wars.
Oh yeah.
The whole point of what George is doing there is he shows you a brief snippet of the lightsaber opening,
yes,
and then cuts,
You fill it in.
That
Yep.
is far more horrifying than showing you it. Even though some bored YouTubers would like to go in depth and force you to, one, buy their stupid cap, and two, watch children being mauled. That's not the point of Star Wars. We don't need to see people being crushed. The
Look,
point
when
about
I
the
want
Force
children to be
Unleashed-
mauled, I want them to get red and black face paint and prosthetic horns. That's the only mauling of children that should ever happen. We should be mauling
Exactly.
children. Thank you. Thank you. That's my platform. Why, man? Why don't I run for politics? This shit's easy.
Free
yeah.
face paint for everyone.
Anyway, I think we're gonna wrap it there. Unless anyone has a last minute question that comes in as we're saying goodbye, then we will pretty much be satisfied with this. This has been a fun one. We had Andy, we had Matty Gunner, we had Charlie. Great questions from the whole chat. Familiar faces, a couple new faces. It's been cool. You're gonna be back next week with Ken. Ken again, June 30th, 7 p.m. Flapperscomedy.com for tickets to Ken Napzok's Hot Burbank Nights. Flappers Comedy Club and Restaurant. Going to be a really, really good time. Very excited about it. Excited for him. Here's Ken and I's socials there. Charlie's socials at CMW Ashby on Twitter. They might be different other places. Why don't you guide everybody through those and tell them where they can find you?
Yeah, on Instagram, it's Charlie MW Ashby. And then on both Twitter and Instagram, I've got my link tree in my bio, so you can just find everywhere else on there.
Indeed, indeed. You can find me personally at thataldendiaz, ThatAldendiaz. Octa Radio, I've had like 3 episodes that I've been sitting on for the longest. I'm tired, guys. I'm tired. The world is not great. And so I haven't released
ISP releases one like every 2 years.
It's also because they're evergreen, so I feel less motivation because it's not like it's Acolyte review where it's like it needs to be out now. But literally right now, as we've been on air, I'm going to be posting about it after this. I was a guest on Stardust Records with our friend Lindsay, filling in for their co-host Savi, who's on her honeymoon. Congratulations again to my friend, and talking about Acolyte episode 3. There's going to be more Acolyte talk across all of our shows, all of our friends' shows. Find, of course, Ken doing some of the best Star Wars talk on the whole internet over on Force Center with Jennifer Landa and Joseph Scrimshaw. You can find me on In a Galaxy's trivia show that is Epic Confrontations, where I am the champion. So, plug for that. And then Ionized Bastards on Michael's show. That's our Star Wars actual play RPG. Casterly Talk is the last thing that I should mention. Sunday night on the Casterly Talk YouTube channel. Some point after, I'm going to be doing a live stream just like this. I will be taking more of the A point on that. Ken is going to be more stepping back and producing just because he's so busy in terms of everything Star Wars, everything comedy, everything that he does with his actual life, that something had to be on the back burner. And so it's going to be Dragons and Swords for right now. And so I will have all manner of our friends and collaborators on for this upcoming season of House of the Dragon. It's going to be a brutal one. It ain't going to be fun, everyone. It's going to be fun for us, but it's not going to be fun for those characters. And then, we will be working on our new show, Everybody Loves Lynch. And that will be coming on to this podcast as well. No, I don't know.
That'll be a word-for-word redo of Everybody Loves Raymond, just with David Lynch playing everyone.
It's true. And so with that being our final note right now, I will say, and again, this is going to be an awkward goodbye because I'm just literally clicking things instead of having the radio board that Ken does. Thank you again for joining us, and we will catch you